We're living in a world that seems open and free, yet somewhere beneath the surface, invisible biases still shackle the souls of millions of women. A 2023 Pew Research survey revealed that 57% of American adults think a single woman in her 30s is abnormal or worrisome. This exposes a shocking truth. Society still assumes a woman's worth is tied more to the relationship she has than to who she truly is. And it's this very bias that leaves so many women like Sarah, the woman we met earlier, lying awake at night wondering, am I wrong for choosing to be alone? But in those quietest moments, they hear a faint voice inside saying, no, you're on the right path. This isn't loneliness. This is your journey of growth. Why is it that so many people feel threatened by a woman who doesn't need to lean on anyone? Because as Carl Jung pointed out, what we deny within ourselves becomes the shadow that controls us. A woman who doesn't look for someone else to fill her emptiness has already faced and reconciled with her own shadow. And that threatens everyone still living for the approval of others. Have you ever wondered why, even in relationships, so many women still feel empty? A 2022 study by the American Psychological Association found that 34% of American women aged 25-40 had spent over a year in relationships where they never felt emotionally safe, which means even lying next to someone, they were lonely. And that very experience is what drives more women to walk away, choosing instead to embark on the journey of rediscovering themselves, even if it comes at the cost of others' judgment. Take the story of Maya, 29, working in tech in San Francisco. She broke up with her boyfriend of 4 years when she realized she was just playing the role of the accommodating one instead of being herself. Maya shared, I used to be terrified of lying alone in bed at night, but what was scarier was lying next to someone and not recognizing myself anymore. That turning point transformed her fear of loneliness into a source of strength. But that journey is anything but easy. When a woman chooses to be on her own, she's bombarded with endless questions from family, coworkers, friends. When are you getting married? Are you being too picky? Are you afraid of love? Each question is like a tiny needle, subtle but painful, reminding her that society still believes women need someone to legitimize their existence. So what sets apart the women brave enough to stay single? It's that they know real love doesn't require them to shrink or sacrifice their core values. They choose to love themselves first rather than fearing the emptiness. They choose to dive deep into their inner world, to hear the voice within themselves, something shallow conversations or fleeting attention could never give. You know, Jung once said, wholeness for humans depends on the ability to own their shadow. And here, facing the shadow means confronting beliefs like, I only matter if someone loves me. Single women are failures, I should settle for less because I'm afraid no one else will come. They peel back those layers of limiting beliefs until they realize they don't need anyone to prove their worth. In today's world where social media constantly glorifies images of perfect couples, romantic getaways, fancy dinners for two, these women are like salmon swimming upstream. They're not posting pictures of someone holding their hand or hashtagging couple goals, yet they're still proud of who they are. And it's this freedom that makes many people uneasy, because it exposes the truth that love doesn't have to prove anything to society. If you've ever sat on your bed staring at your phone wondering whether you should text someone just to avoid feeling empty, remember that feeling doesn't make you weak. It simply shows you it's time to learn how to find warmth within yourself. Just like Maya did, just like millions of women are doing right now. Take a moment and ask yourself, am I loving because I want to share my happiness or because I can't stand the thought of being alone? That question could change everything about how you enter love. And it's also the core question we'll explore further in the next part of this video, where we'll uncover the secrets of shadow work, Jung's method for turning past wounds into the foundation for healthy love. But before we get there, I invite you to share your stories, feelings, or questions in the comments below. Let me and everyone watching this video know how you felt when facing loneliness, or what has helped you stay strong, because it's these shared stories that will turn this channel into a true community, a place where you don't have to fear judgment and where every story becomes a reminder that you are not alone. After women like Maya or Sarah dare to step through the fear of loneliness, they enter an even more challenging stage, learning to truly love themselves and rebuilding the personal values that were eroded by past toxic relationships. This is when the concept of shadow work, facing the darkest parts of ourselves, becomes the key not just to healing, but to rising stronger than ever. Carl Jung once said, "What you do not face will become your fate." That means if we don't confront our pain and old wounds, they'll keep repeating through our relationships, driving us to seek love in all the wrong places. Women aren't afraid of being alone. They're afraid of facing the unhealed scars deep inside. And only when they move beyond that fear can they break free from the cycle of emotional dependence. Ask yourself this: have you ever been in a relationship where a simple text like, "Where are you?" made you feel loved, even though deep down you knew you weren't being respected? If the answer is yes, know that you're not alone. A study by Psychology Today found that over 48% of women have experienced the fear of losing love so intensely they lost themselves in the process. Shadow work isn't some mystical practice. It starts by admitting, "I once let someone belittle me because I was terrified of losing them." From there, you gradually learn to set boundaries and to tell yourself, "My worth doesn't depend on anyone's attention or approval." We're often taught that love means sacrifice or enduring hardship. But the truth is, love should never mean shrinking yourself. Jung showed us that if you can't find wholeness within, any love you find outside will only be a patchwork. That's why so many women, once they begin to understand themselves, realize they'd been living with a fear of abandonment so big they settled for toxic relationships just to avoid being alone. Yet awakening often comes from the deepest wounds. One woman shared with me, "I used to think I couldn't live without him. But it was only when he left that I realized I could stand on my own." Every time I hear a story like that, I believe more strongly that loneliness can be a gift, a chance to learn how to heal yourself. If you've ever been in a relationship where you felt like you had to hold your breath to keep the peace, or where you changed yourself just to fit someone else's expectations, then you are exactly the person who needs to embark on the journey of shadow work. Don't fear the darkness you find inside, because only by accepting it can you stop giving others the power to control your emotions. The sad reality is that society often encourages women to suppress their own feelings to keep things stable for their family or relationship. But a 2021 Harvard study found that people who develop self-awareness and clear boundaries have relationships that are twice as happy and long-lasting as those who don't speak up for their needs. That's why I encourage you to bravely share your story in the comments below. Sometimes a single comment can reach someone feeling alone, and together we can build a community of healing, a place where no one has to feel ashamed of their wounds. And if you're wondering, where do I even start so I don't keep falling into the wrong relationships, don't miss the next part of this video. It'll guide you through simple yet powerful steps to practice shadow work, from identifying false beliefs to building true self-love, so you'll never fear losing someone again and can finally live with real inner freedom. To understand why even in the 21st century, the old standard that a woman must have a partner to be considered stable still haunts millions, we need to look at its roots. Society has nurtured this belief across generations, through the media, through families, and even through the fairy tales we heard as kids. From a young age, we're told that a princess only finds happiness when a prince appears, that a girl's greatest value lies in being chosen as someone's wife. Even modern Hollywood movies are filled with stories where the happy ending only arrives when the female character finds love. This isn't just entertainment, it becomes a subconscious message repeated over and over. A woman without her other half will always be incomplete. Carl Jung emphasized that collective patterns, what he called archetypes, are powerful because they're embedded deep in our collective unconscious. And here, the archetype of a woman is only whole if she has a husband is still very much alive. Families often unintentionally reinforce it. Two seemingly harmless questions like, "When are you getting married?" act as delicate chains that keep women confined to outdated expectations. We also can't ignore the impact of social media. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they're flooded with images of couples traveling, giving each other gifts, romantic proposal videos. These are staged, edited, polished versions of ideal happiness that, without realizing it, create pressure for anyone who's alone. A 2022 study by the American Psychological Association found that 64% of women aged 25-40 felt insecure or less valuable after repeatedly seeing photos of happy couples online. The problem isn't love or romance themselves. Both are beautiful when they come from genuine choice and equality, but that society has turned love into a certificate proving a woman's worth. The more women absorb these curated images, the easier it becomes to believe that any relationship, even a bad one, is better than having no one. The cruelest part is that it's often women themselves, those who've suffered under these same biases, who unknowingly keep them alive. Many mothers' aunts' girlfriends still advise, find someone soon before it's too late, not realizing that this advice helps perpetuate a cycle of pain. As Jung pointed out, only by recognizing the collective shadow can we break free and find true personal freedom. Have you ever felt lost as your friends lined up to show off engagement rings or wedding photos while you just wanted to focus on finding yourself? Have you ever wondered if you really want to get married or if you just want to meet your family's or society's expectations? If so, I invite you to share your story, your thoughts, or your questions in the comments below. Let's make this channel a place where you won't be judged, where every story is a seed that helps us all grow stronger together. Remember, no one has the right to decide when, with whom, or whether you need a relationship to be enough. That right belongs only to you. And if society tries to convince you that you're wrong, remember Jung's words: where convention reigns, the truth of yourself has no room to exist. Don't click away just yet, because in the next part of this video, I'll share 5 practical steps to help you break free from social expectations, set healthy boundaries, and learn to distinguish between what you truly want and what society has imposed on you. Keep watching, because your journey to fully reclaiming yourself is worth more than anything else. Once you're strong enough to face yourself, the natural next question arises. How can you recognize a relationship that's truly worth it? A mature, growth-oriented love instead of just another toxic cycle. This isn't something you'll see in a few dates. It shows in how someone shows up when things are far from perfect. The clearest sign of a mature love isn't pretty promises, but the ability to face challenges together. A mature partner won't go silent when you're hurt, nor will they weaponize your mistakes to control you. They'll talk about us instead of just me when discussing the future, and when disagreements happen, they'll prioritize listening over winning. A study by the Gottman Institute, a leading marriage research center in the U.S., found that couples who stay strong long-term share 3 core traits: open and honest communication, respect for personal boundaries, and a consistent positive curiosity about each other. Meaning, even after years, they still ask, "How are you feeling today?" instead of assuming everything is fine. Another key sign is a sense of safety. You don't have to lie awake each night wondering, do they still love me? Nor do you fear that sharing your thoughts will drive them away. In a mature relationship, differences aren't threats. They're opportunities to understand each other better. They don't try to mold you into their ideal. They value the journey that shaped you into who you are today. Carl Jung once said, "Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, love is lacking." So if a relationship makes you feel small, scared, or like you have to constantly explain yourself, that's not love. It's dependency in disguise. You can also recognize mature love by how you grow together. A partner who doesn't just cheer for your dreams, but helps you take small steps toward making them real. Healthy love doesn't kill ambition, it fuels it. Finally, mature partnership requires both people to do their own shadow work, becoming aware of their personal darkness instead of blaming everything on the other. Only when both take responsibility for their own feelings can they build a fair, deep, and liberating relationship together. If you're searching for a love like this, don't hesitate to share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Tell me, have you ever been in a relationship that helped you see the value of mature love? What scares you most about opening your heart again? Your stories won't just help you process your own feelings. They might reach someone who's wondering if they're asking for too much. And don't forget, in the next part, I'll share daily habits you can practice to become the strongest version of yourself, so you can step into love with confidence without ever fearing you'll lose who you are. Stay with me, because you deserve a love that doesn't require you to disappear just to be accepted. As we come to the end of this journey, I invite you to take a quiet moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, have I ever truly loved myself enough? Because as Carl Jung once said, what is not made conscious will manifest as fate. When we don't understand ourselves, the fear of abandonment will dictate every choice. When we fail to see our own worth, we settle for far less than what we truly deserve. You've walked with me through the stories of Sarah and Maya, through the truth that loneliness isn't a failure, but a chance to learn to love yourself. Together, we've explored why society, media, family, and even childhood fairy tales embed the belief that a woman is only complete with someone by her side. And we've uncovered what a mature, growth-centered love looks like, where you don't have to shrink yourself to fit into someone's life, where love isn't a game of power, but two people growing, healing, and respecting each other's path. Above all, I want you to remember this: only you get to decide your worth. Love will come and go, people will enter and leave your life, but the relationship you have with yourself will stay with you until the very end. Allow yourself the time to pause, to heal, and to nourish your soul before seeking anyone else. And if one day you see a woman dining alone, traveling by herself, or sitting quietly in a nearly empty cafe, remember, she is not to be pitied. She is honoring herself, bravely walking a path few have the courage to choose. Perhaps she is living the version of life you've always dreamed of for yourself. I hope this video doesn't just end here, but plants a seed inside you to understand that solitude is not frightening if it helps you grow. Please share your thoughts, stories, or questions in the comments below. Have you ever felt lost in a world full of expectations? What helped you find your way back to yourself? Each comment won't just empower you, but could reach someone else longing for the same freedom. If what I shared today resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Not because I need numbers, but because I believe we need more spaces where women can speak their truth and where everyone is respected on their healing journey. Let's build a community where every story becomes a mirror reflecting our strength and resilience. And if you're ready, I invite you to join me in upcoming videos where we'll dive deeper into practical tools for nurturing self-love, from meditation journaling to simple yet powerful daily habits. This journey has no final destination, only steps taken with growing confidence. And you deserve to walk it without needing anyone's permission to be yourself. Thank you for giving your precious time to listen and reflect with me. You are not alone. Your presence here proves that there is a generation of women and understanding, men awakening, reclaiming their true worth, and breaking free from outdated expectations. And that is the first step toward a world where love is no longer control but freedom.